Alright, so it's another day off. Been a pretty chill day today. We've come into Chester for this evening slash arvo to watch a football game in the pub. And I thought I would take you on a bit of a tour of Chester. And to come along and help me, we have Marky Marks, and Brownie there. Now, they know a lot more about Chester than I do, so that's why I brought them along and they're going to tell you a bit about it. So let's get into it. So this building sits at Crossroads in Chester. Back that way is camp, we come from there, and the pub is down this way. But at the moment, Brandon's going to explain to us what that building is.
Indeed. This beautiful building right here is the birthplace of Barry Chester. His family were immigrants here in the early 1700s, and he was born here in 1864, I believe. Which is like second generation. Clearly there was some kind of Greek influence, and he definitely enjoyed a beer because he built a package store on the side of his house.
Right there.
Right there, so that's where he got the beers from.
Yep. Beautiful. That is the birthplace of Barry Chester, who is the namesake of this town. And so now we're going to head back up. I don't know what that building is, but Mark is going to tell us what this building on the corner is. Mark?
As you can see, it was built in 1913. Interesting building. The architecture of this building, as you can see, is weird because you have the river running through one side and you have also the main highway running on the opposite side. So, as I heard the storyteller one day in the bar told me, it was Clinton Carrison's building. He built this and drew it up himself, did all the architecture on it, and he built this as a sort of ferry terminal for all the locals that came through on the boats, on the ferries that come up the river.
Yeah.
So he built this building, beautiful colours. As you can see, the structures running along the top there are actually areas where you store your chestnuts in the winter so they dry. As you can see, all the balustrades at the top there.
Yeah.
Along the sides you have the nice boards running down to a solid concrete base. Solid concrete base, just in case we do get floods and you're not getting your wood rotten. So that's a very interesting building. As you can see, very nice light outside as well.
Yeah, it is. Thank you for that wonderful history. I didn't know these buildings had such a deep and rich past. Nice, and as we continue up the street a little bit into more of downtown Chester, it's quite a quaint little town. Like Mark just pointed out, we've got the river raging through the middle here, and if we head up around the corner, we'll head to I think one of Brownie's favourite spots here in Chester, the Paddock pub, and so we'll be there momentarily. Okay, so as we approach the Paddock Bar and Grilly, as it says on the sign, Brownie, can you fill us in a bit on the history of this particular establishment?
Oh yes. Well, after obviously Barry Lester was here, he opened his little package store in the 1700s. He started to expand his enterprise a little bit, and he decided that he was going to open a bar and grilly. And the bar and grill, he wasn't going to open a bar and grill, but apparently somewhere else opened that. So to add the E just because of like patent sake and people were getting upset.
Yeah.
Opened in 1850. His pet squirrel Lester, clearly as you can see in the sign, he's getting good and drunk. He used to bring his pet squirrel Lester in here every day. He used to sit on the bar and perform for the punters. They all really enjoyed him. Yep. And it's just raged on from there and then. Every year people come in and try and find Lester. Unfortunately he is dearly departed, so we'll have to see.
Well, I don't think squirrels tend to live to be 150 years old, so
no, well, he didn't think about his
surprised.
business plan, did he?
No. Well, it's quite a quaint little pub. Now, because we just saw it, we're going to head this way to check out a cool little house, which I also believe Mark, funnily enough, has just picked up on the story. So he's going to inform us of that story when we get there. Okay, so like I said, we just kind of spotted this house hidden away in the side of the road. We've just come up the hill, the Paddock is down there. Oh, got some bikes. And we've just that's where Barry Chester was born. And so Mark's going to inform us of the history of this particular building here at Chester.
As you can see, beautiful building here. Great bit of landscaping work going on right here. Large number of plant species has actually evolved from this one little house, as we see here. We've got 64 different types of grass, 13 different types of moss, and also you can see the ivy growing all over as well. Great building, really important environmental aspect to it as well.
Yes.
As you can see. Great bit of landscaping. But the history on it is that Nevin Baggins actually used to live here. This was before he moved to New Zealand into Hobbiton, and about 52 years ago it was today. So he was the founder of this small cobble hamlet.
Nice, thank you for that, Mark. So I'm just going to do a revival, a bit of a recap of what Mark just talked about, that building that Mark was just talking about. If you can see that one behind me with like the upper deck and stuff, he was saying that Nevin Baggins used to live there, which is true. About 50 years ago Nevin Baggins did live there, but before then it actually used to be a hotel, and that had a dance floor up top, which was actually a spring-loaded dance floor, so it bounced up and down. Because we're just talking to the guy who lives there now, and it burnt down a couple of times and being rebuilt, and so that's what the actual story of it is. It was built about 1830s, I think he said, so about 20 years before the pub here, and people used to come from all over the country to buy stuff from the factories made. They used the river, the raging river that Mark talked about before, to manufacture goods, and they used to stay at the hotel and dance on the spring-loaded dance floor. And then Nevin moved in, and then since Nevin was here, we've met the other guy who lives there now. He's an artist. An artiste, I believe, is what he prefers to be called. So that's Chester.